Let's understand this with a very simple example. I have a Christmas celebration in my school. I'm planning to get some Christmas trees, but for this, what happens here is a demand. I'll have to see whether there is a supply which is able to supply me the Christmas trees. Now, let's understand this very simply. My budget is $100. For this $100, if I'm able to get one Christmas tree, what would happen is I will procure just one of that. So my demand here remains one. But in case the price of this Christmas tree declines and I'm able to procure one Christmas tree with $50, what would happen? I'll have two Christmas trees for my school. And that's as simple as that. Whenever you have the price that declines, the quantity demanded increases, and therefore, in a demand analysis, we have a negatively sloping curve. With the decline in the price, you would have the quantity demanded that would increase. And what is all about this demand? It's simply my willingness or my ability to pay for any good or services. So, two things very, very important. I am looking to procure the Christmas tree, and the second is I am able to pay for the Christmas tree. Besides the price, what all are other factors that affect it? So, whenever we talk about a demand supply curve like this, what we understand is we are trying to consider only two things. All other things remain constant, and that is just the price and the quantity. Now, let's say I want to move some or I want to bring in a change to the other scenarios. It could be substitute. So, what would happen in case of substitutes? Let's say I am in a habit of drinking coffee, but the prices of the coffee go sharply up. So, what I could do is I could simply substitute myself to a cup of tea, which is relatively cheaper. So those are substitutes. If the price of one commodity goes up, there is a tendency to shift towards another commodity. On the other hand, when we are talking about complements, these are the commodities which go hand in hand. So what does that mean? Tea and sugar. So if the price of the tea goes up, or the consumption of the tea goes up, definitely my consumption of the sugar would go up irrespective of the price. So whatsoever the price would be, I would be consuming more of tea. And if I'm consuming more of tea, what would happen? Even if the sugar is expensive, I might reduce it a little, but the consumption would go up. So those are complements. Other things which affect the demand is advertisements. Definitely a lot of hoardings around, and they are there to put a subtle influence on your mind and persuade you to purchase that commodity. It could be a different story that you can regret later on, but that is one way where you influence the demand. The next factor that influences the demand is the government policies. So if there are strict rules and regulations, the demand could decline. But if the rules and regulations are easier, it's simpler to trade, the demand could rise. Income is another important criteria. With more of income, definitely the ability to pay, as we discussed, increases. So you have more of demand that could be seen in. Next important criteria is habit or fashion. So that's talking about your willingness. And there is where you are trying to bring in the idea whether you are trying to buy a specific good or not buy a specific good. For example, if we take an example of China, you have a lot of French goods which are highly popular in Chinese market. So it could be considered as a fashion product in that market. Again, when we are taking any example, if we are taking other things constant as we discussed previously, there would be a direct relation between the change in the price scenario that is seen which would inversely affect the demand. So if the price declines, your quantity demanded would increase, and therefore we say there is an inverse relation between the quantity and the price in a demand analysis. Other things remaining constant, if there is a change in any other factor besides the price and the quantity, let's say income. If my income increases, this whole curve would shift towards its right. That means when my income has increased, now there is a chance that you could be able to buy more of the quantity or the commodity that you are looking for. So, contraction and expansion of demand is very, very important to understand. So, when you have a price that increases in the market, what would happen? Let's take a simple example. I have 10 students with me. I am willing to give each of them one chocolate which cost me $1. And so I have 10 students. I can give all 10 of them chocolates which are $1 each. Now consider a scenario that I have a chocolate that comes with $10. There is a price rise. So there is a contraction in the demand. Rather than giving all the 10 students chocolates, what I would do is I would choose one of the best students on whatsoever criteria that is there and give the child the chocolate. So my quantity has declined from 10 to 1 because the price has increased from 1 to 10. And that's a very simple example to understand the contraction of demand. The reverse goes true with the extension of demand. So initially, let's consider if the chocolate was $10, I was able to give it to only one child, but the price has declined. It's $1 now. So I can give to all of the 10 children that are there. Again, as we said, the demand curve would shift only and only when you have any other factor that comes into play. So we took a simple example of rising income. With the rising income, you would have a change in the demand curve that would be witnessed.